What's up, world? It's your boy Tyrone Morgan. I'm here today to introduce you to another episode of the Soul Rehab Podcast. And this week, we are doing a special on domestic violence. And we have a one-on-one interview with none other than our fervent servant, Miss Anisha Dawson, and Mrs. Angel Crandall. Want to make sure I get that right. CEO of S.W.A.V, which is Screaming with a Voice. Listen, we know this is Domestic Violence Month. We will make sure we bring attention to issues in our community. And one of the things that I see about domestic violence, and I want to just reference to men because I am a man. So I want to let us know that, look, brothers, I know we may have been raised in a different way, and we may be seeing things that was counteractive to what we really should be. But listen, hitting on women is never a way to go. We want to make even verbal abuse is just as bad. So let's learn how to talk. Let's learn to treat our women good and with respect to make sure they understand that we love them. If you have anger issues, if you have issues with expressing yourself without your hands being touching somebody or screaming or yelling derogative things towards people, please go to counseling. Please be mentored by somebody that you see that don't exhibit the attitude that you have, but has the attitude and the character that you desire. Listen, men is the key to the home. We are the people who provide identity to the family. So we must make sure we're in our rightfully place when we make sure we treat people that's under us or in the house with us the way we should. Let's not treat outside better than we treat the people that's on the inside. So men, again, this is a plea for you. Let's make sure that we do what we're supposed to. Let's teach, let's train, and let's give people in our family's identity in a space that they can call their own so they can become who God created them to be. So with nothing else left to say, let's dig into this interview in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Soul Rehab Podcast. I hope you're all well. I'm your girl, Anisha Dawson, aka the Fervent Servant. And tonight I am flying solo without my team. I don't have the chosen one. I don't have the voice of reason. So I am all of the above. So let me shout out my team since they are absent. Mr. Tyrone Morgan, the chosen one, and Miss Frances Sutton, the voice of reason. Shout out. I'll miss you, team. But tonight we have a very special guest. We have my dear friend and my sister. Oh my God, y'all. I've known her, I think, about now for about 4 or 5 years. We met in a different season of ministry. I think when we met, it was instant. Like our bond, we clicked. We started chatting, and then we started cutting up. And once we started cutting up, it was something. It just went on from there. So I'd like to introduce to you guys my sister, Mrs. Angel Crandall, who is the founder of S.W.A.V, Screaming with a Voice. How are you, Angel? And thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Anisha. I am great. How are
Awesome.
you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Just
Awesome.
pushing through. Just pushing through. So tonight, guys, we want to bring some awareness. Up here we talk about these tough topics, and tonight we really want to bring some awareness to domestic violence. And with that being said, Angel has a wonderful, wonderful organization that we want to give some light to. So, Angel, if you don't mind, if you could tell us about your organization and what you do.
Absolutely. So, as she said, my name is Angel Crandall. I'm the founder and CEO of a nonprofit organization by the name of Screaming with a Voice NC. We nicknamed it S.W.A.V. We were founded in 2011, September 29th, 2011. S.W.A.V was formed. Um, it was a very tough season of my life. I lost a very dear friend and a coworker August 29th of 2011. It was shortly after a hurricane. Um, One of my very dear friends was murdered by her boyfriend of about 18 years. Um, After she was murdered, my spirit was just broken. And I felt like I had to do something different. I felt like this thing, it was just a cancer in the land. You know, I had watched my mother go through domestic violence growing up. Um, I knew of other family members that had gone through domestic violence. And to me, I just felt like I needed to be the person to shed light and shed awareness about this thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, so I got a team together. We put our feet to the ground and we started working. That's what we did.
Absolutely. Well, shout out your team.
Um, so we have Miss Sharnita Platt. We have Miss Nicole Clemens. We have Miss Amber Lloyd. We have Miss Cynthia Kroom, who's my mother. She is truly my backbone. Oh, she is everything. She just keeps me lifted up. We have Miss Dejanay Hawkins. We have Mrs. Lakeisha Yerby. Um, and the great late Mr. DeGario McKnight. Um, he was our media director. He's our now guardian angel. We miss him so
Absolutely.
much.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes, we miss him so much. Um, and I have to shout out Mr. Robert Fuller, who has stepped in and, you know, been filling that spot. Anytime we need him, he steps right in. Also, our extended team, who has been working with us and doing a great job, Mr. Jay York and Mr. Donnie Hall.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
There is nothing like having an amazing team, honey. Nothing
hmm
like it. Yeah, we need that kind of support, and we support each other absolutely.
hmm
So you said that you had previous experience with seeing loved ones, experience domestic violence. So tell me a
hmm
little bit about that, like, because I don't know if sometimes people always recognize what's going on with people. You know what I'm
hmm
saying? So what are you don't have to go into a lot of detail, but what are your
hmm
experiences with watching loved ones go through domestic violence?
So, I'm going to really talk about my mother because she's the one that I saw often go through domestic violence. I'm sorry, I'm moving around.
No problem, no problem, no problem.
So sorry. Um, so with my mom, uh, wow, she dealt with it for many years. I mean, many, many years. Um, I think the biggest argument and fight that I remember seeing that changed my life, I had to be between the ages of 7 and 9. Um, it was the summertime. Her boyfriend was going to take us to the beach, and my mom, and this is my biological mom. Um, as many people know, I am adopted as well, so I do have adopted mom. Um, but this is my biological mom that I'm speaking of. But her boyfriend was going to take us to the beach. And my mother is the type of person, like, regardless of anything, she's not going to tell me a lie. Like, whatever it is she says she's going to do, that's what it's going to be. So this particular day, we were going to the beach, and just in an instant, he changed his mind. He got upset and was like, "No, we're not going." And my mom was like, "It's fine if you don't want to go. I'm still going to take my baby." Um, and it was like a family trip. His family was going. It was, I don't know, it was a bunch of us going. Um, so he got really upset with her. He grabbed her by the throat. He was choking her. And I can literally see it in my mind. Every time I talk about it, I can literally see it. I can see what she had on and everything. Like, she had on this black shirt. She had on some jean shorts, some black sandals. My mom wore a curl back then. She had her hair pinned up in these banana clips. You remember the
I
banana
do. I
clips
remember
back
the
in the
banana
day?
clips.
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
yes. She
Had
had
them in
her
every
hair
color.
pinned up. Yes, She had her hair pinned up in some banana clips that day. Um, and I can see it so clearly. And he grabbed her by the throat. He was choking her. He had her against the wall. My mom is very, very feisty. She was very, very feisty back then. And I could just see her kind of like passing out a little bit. And with all her might, she ended up fighting back. She got her pocket knife, and she was able to stab him a little bit to get him off of her. And I remember looking at that entire scene, and I was angry because I was like, you guys see this man abusing my mom, and nobody is helping her. Like, nobody is helping her. And I remember trying to get to her, and his niece was pulling me back. Like, my mom has always been sick my entire life. So she has a cyst on her brain, or brain tumor, or whatever. She's had it since she was, I don't know, like 4 or 5 or whatever. And she has seizures. So my mom has always been sick my entire life. And I'm very, very, very overprotective of my mother. So I'm looking at this whole entire scene, and I immediately go into protective mode.
Yes,
Like,
absolutely.
So I'm seeing this man abuse my mom, and I immediately want to go and protect her because that's all I know. And his family member is pulling me back. So it was something in me that day that made me realize, when I get older, I'm never going through that. Never going through that. And it also put some negativity in me as well, because when I started dating, anytime any of my boyfriends said anything that I thought was offensive
or threatening,
yes, I jumped on, like, defense mode, like, every single time. Like, like, what? What are you saying? Who you talking to? Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not even gonna lie. Like, even Even when I met Mr. Crandall,
Mm-hmm.
I had to pray about being humble.
Yes.
I had to pray about being humble
Mm-hmm.
because I'm really humble to a certain degree. But when it came down to men, I was
Mm-hmm.
not humble at all. I was not humble at all.
Yep.
Being submissive was a problem for me.
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
was. It really was. Um, I had to learn how to be submissive.
Amen. In Jesus' name.
Yes, I had to learn how to be submissive.
Woo, honey.
Um, because I I I really took everything as a threat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. A challenge. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And I
Yeah.
had to learn, every man is not like the man who hurt your
Mhm.
mother.
That's right.
Every man is not like the man who hurt your friend, who took your friend
Mhm.
away.
That's true. That's right. That's right.
You know? Um
I think
so,
that's a part of that healing process as well, though.
mhm,
You know,
mhm.
that takes some time to get to. Hmm.
Yes, yes. I had to work through that thing. I
Hmm.
really had to work through that thing.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Mhm.
You said that it made me think of when I was, oh God, I think my son was already born. He was a baby, as a matter of fact. And I had a friend of a different ethnicity.
Mhm.
Um, Culturally, the men are um I'm not gonna say abusive, but they're very aggressive. They're very you do what I say, not as I do, and they're excuses. So I became friends with the young lady, and I started noticing little stuff. I never said anything because I was just getting to know her. I wasn't trying to be in her business. Um, but then one day I saw her, she had bruises on her arm, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, what is this? So I was like, well, I'm not gonna say her name. I said, so why did you get those bruises? Oh, I just ran into something, something, something. Okay, I'm gonna let it go. Then the bruises turned into something on her neck.
Mhm.
Did you bump into something with your neck? She never said
Right.
anything. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
then finally it came to a point where she was wearing black eyes, and I was just like, what
Right.
is going on with you? So she finally tells me, look, he's been doing this for years. I can't do anything. Culturally, it's accepted, yada, yada, yada. But the beatings were getting worse. The beatings were getting worse. They were getting worse. She was wearing more marks. I'm talking about when I tell you she had bruises on different parts of her body. I mean, it was just like he did it for fun. That's what it seemed like.
Mhm.
And I remember the guy that I was dating at the time, I kept telling him, I was like, I am scared that he's going to kill her.
Mhm.
So what ended up happening was, um, had a conversation with another friend. We had a mutual friend, and I was like, we got to get her out of there. Never in my life had I ever thought about that. I'm not one of the people that jump in people's business, not especially not that time. Like I'm not gonna get involved in that kind of stuff. I know how those situations can go. I seen it, I seen other people go through stuff. When I tell you that we did everything in our power to get that child and that lady and her children packed up and get them out of there,
Mhm.
we did. Packed them up, got them out. I have not talked to her since that day. I don't
Right.
know what happened. I pray to God in heaven that when she got gone, that she stayed gone and that she is still safe to this day. But that thing was eating me so bad because that was my friend and I grew to love her and I hated to see her suffer. And
Mhm.
I never forgot that. And Lord knows, I still ask the Lord, like, Lord, if I could just find her just to see if she okay. But if it means me finding her, seeing if she okay, means that it's gonna put her at risk, I don't even want it. But I
Mhm.
hope to God in heaven that she's okay. That was probably one of my first real experiences that I can remember of having a loved one go through something like that.
Mhm.
Um, it was different. It was painful. It was
Yeah.
painful for me, and I'm on the outside looking in, so I can only imagine what it was like for her. That's what
Right.
I say. Like I want people to be aware of, noticing those little signs. Look, I don't know if it's gonna make a difference, but you can always go to somebody and say, "Hey, look." Are you okay? Do you need
Mhm.
something? Is there anything I can do? I'm not telling people to go out there and risk their lives for people, but I
Right.
am saying be present for your people because something you may say or do may influence them in their head. Like, look, I ain't got to deal with this stuff. I got to find a way to get out of this. So
Right.
that's why I'm very grateful that we have people in place and organizations like yours who
Mhm.
can who can bring awareness and do certain things. I know I saw that you did you do it was a fundraiser?
Yes.
Yes. Tell me a
Yeah.
little bit about your fundraiser.
So the fundraiser was for a young lady who had been abused. And actually she is still in the hospital fighting. Um, she has 3 kids.
Mm-hmm.
And that that situation is very, very sad to me. It's very sad. Um, I can't say a whole lot about it.
Right.
Um, because it is, it's still open case or whatever.
Yes,
But
yes, yes, absolutely.
um she she was hurt pretty bad. She was hurt pretty bad and left pretty much left there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Thank God for her niece um having, I'm gonna say, an inkling in her spirit
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to go and check on her aunt,
Mm-hmm.
because had she not checked on her, only God knows what would have happened, you know.
Right.
Um, but we did a fundraiser at Sweet Frog.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the fundraiser people came out and they gave us a portion of what was raised that day. So, um, you know, when when we get cases like that, we try to do whatever we can,
Mm-hmm.
especially when there's children
Children
involved.
involved. Uh-huh.
Um, because we are a nonprofit, a lot of times funds come straight out of our pocket to help families.
Mm-hmm.
So any donations and all of that, every donation that we get, we greatly appreciate, you know. So um doing that fundraiser was, we greatly appreciated everything that was donated to that family, um because they really needed it. They really
Wow.
needed it. The kids really needed everything that was donated to the family, you know. And even now, there people are donating to the family. So, you know, it's been a rough road. It's been a rough road for the children.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
they still have a long way to go,
Mm-hmm.
because the kids were there and saw it. So we're working on getting them counseling and things like that.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's
um,
amazing. That's look, we are up here, we say Jesus and the therapist, honey, because we know that those two things will get you through. I know we as culturally we don't like to admit that we need to talk to someone or see someone, sometimes medicate, but look, people,
mhm,
when you need the help, you gotta reach out for it. Uh,
mhm,
whether you've been the one to experience it personally or where you've
mhm.
seen it. And like, what are some of the major things that like you think that we could do for our loved ones, you know, as they're going through these things? Like,
Not give up on them.
mm-hmm,
That's the one thing that I've seen the most, because victims, I hate to call them victims, but people who are getting abused, they are scared.
They are, absolutely.
They are scared. They don't know who to trust. They don't know which way to turn.
That's right.
Their abusers have them somewhat brainwashed. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Um, they go to the police. Some of them go to the police. They make a report, but because they're so scared, they drop charges.
Right,
And
right, right.
it's a never ending cycle. They go, they drop charges. They go, they drop charges over and
Mm-hmm.
over again. Um, and for the record, the judicial system sucks. It
Mm.
does. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry. It just does. To a degree, I get it, but at the same time, they suck because a lot of these young women and young men can still be here if they do what they supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I know I've seen incidences where the threats have been made and the attempts to control and stalking and all this stuff has been done and they've been told, well, we can't do anything until they physically touch you. That's
Yes,
absurd. That's
yes,
absurd. And a restraining order in place, they're gonna walk right through that. People don't care about a piece of paper saying they can't be near you. They don't
yes,
care about that. And
yes,
one of the other major things I really hate is when someone is victimized, people who haven't been through it will say, well, why they wait so long to say something? You can't tell
right,
somebody how to figure something out like that. You honey, you don't know what it's like. You don't know what it's
right,
like to go through something like that. Like
right.
you can't say you should have said something a long time ago. Look, you say it when you get the strength and the courage, or when you just can't take it anymore. People have to stop being so darn judgmental.
That's why it irritates me so bad when I hear about like the Bill Cosby case or, cases like that, the high
Mm-hmm,
media cases, and these women coming out 25, 30 years
mm-hmm.
later. And people are so judgmental with them. Well, why they wait so long to talk about it, this, that, and third? Listen, did you say that about your cousin? Did you say
Exactly,
that about your aunt when they waited
exactly.
50 years to come out and say anything?
And not
Did,
only that, let me
did
add
you
this.
say it
Some
about yourself?
look, some of that it be your daddy or your uncle or
Come
your
on.
cousin
Come on
that be doing
now.
some of this abusing, and y'all know this stuff. Do you hold them accountable? Do you call the police on them? Do you say, "Hey, you know you ain't got no business putting your hand on that woman"? I know you can't tell grown people what to do, but there ain't no accountability in that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
blame the victim. It's blame the
Yeah.
victim. Now hold your
We
folks
talk
accountable.
about this. We talk about this often on our podcast, Solid No More. Like this whole stigma in the African American household. What goes on in the house stays in this house. Like they gotta stop.
It has to. It has to. Absolutely. That's
It
ridiculous.
it has to stop. They gotta stop. That's craziness.
It is.
That's crazy.
Absolutely. It is. I really dislike it, and I think we did a podcast on unlearning church, but I think we need to unlearn a whole lot of stuff, especially when it comes to like abuse, and whether it's physical, sexual, emotional. Yeah, look, we got to learn some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Stop telling these children not to say anything, or stop telling somebody who's going through something not to say anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. How they supposed to get the help that they need?
Right.
If they don't speak
Right.
out, you're gonna wait
Mhm.
until your person is dead, and then you're gonna say woulda, coulda, shoulda. Now let's address the stuff while they still living and breathing, and we able to help them or get them some
Mhm.
help.
Yes, ma'am.
It's absolutely crazy.
Yes,
I don't know.
ma'am.
I sit back and like you said, I watch stuff on the media, on social media, and I see things and people make these comments, and I just be like, y'all have no idea. Y'all have
Mm-hmm.
no idea. You have no
Mm-hmm.
idea. It don't make sense.
Yeah.
But until the tables turn And then it's somebody that you love. Then here come the violins playing. Here come the sob story. No, then
Right.
that's how you should treat everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody deserves that. And I get it, like you were saying, they will go press the charges or whatever. Then they will drop them. But you don't understand how that person is being controlled, manipulated,
Mm-hmm.
threatened. You don't know how much emotional and mental abuse they have suffered, how somebody belittles them, make them think they are going pure crazy. The
Mm-hmm.
accusations that come. Like, you
Mm-hmm.
cannot speak for somebody you have not been through that. And even if you've been through it, you haven't been through that particular way that they have. And how
Exactly.
everything affects everybody different. I,
Exactly.
I'm I'm just amazed at the way people respond to these kind of things. It's absolutely crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a heavy topic, especially when you know that people are dealing with that stuff and they're afraid um to come forward. And that's why I really wanted us to just take some time tonight to bring some awareness and to say to victims or people. I won't even, like you said, I hate to say victims, but the people who are going through these, look, there are people out here like us. There are organizations and
Right.
podcasts and agencies and stuff that we're here. You don't have to
Mm-hmm.
tell everybody, but
Right.
please reach out to someone. We're
Yeah.
here, we're available, and we will do what we can to make sure that you're safe and that
Yeah.
you get the help that you need.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you said what's the name of your podcast again? Because I definitely want you to shout that out.
Salad no more.
Okay. And you guys air on
Every other Tuesday.
every other Tuesday. What time?
Mm-hmm. 7 p.m.
All right, 7 p.m. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I catch it when I can because we air
Mm-hmm.
on Tuesdays at 7 as well.
Yeah.
So I go back and I catch the replays, honey. And hey,
Mm-hmm.
y'all be on fire up there, might I add. Y'all really be on fire.
Thank you so
Mhm.
much.
Absolutely. You have anything that you'd like to follow up with or anything? I really thank you for being present, for accepting the invitation
Oh, you're
and
welcome.
speaking on
Thank you for
this.
having me. Thank
I
you
said,
so much.
I told my team, I said, I've got to get her on. I got to get her here because I want to put the spotlight on it because, honey, we need you. We need you. We need people like your team. We need your organization because
Thank you so much.
people are in need in this season.
Thank you so
And
much.
absolutely, absolutely,
We are definitely here to do what we can, when we can, and how we can.
absolutely.
One thing that I tell my team is that we are very unique and, not to take anything away from any other agency, but we are definitely unique because we don't just try to help in one region.
Hmm.
If there's somebody in Atlanta that we can help, we're going to help them. If there's somebody in Tennessee, if we can help them, we're going to help them. We don't just try to help in one region. So, you know, if you're out there and you need us, if we can help you, we're going to help.
Absolutely. All right, guys. So once again, I want to thank Angel for joining me tonight to shout out or put the spotlight on the domestic violence and her organization S.W.A.V, also known as Screaming with a Voice. And with that being said, you know what we say here. We always want to tell you to peace out and be well.
What's up, everybody? You reached the end of our great podcast. We would like to thank you for tuning in. We also want to make sure that I reiterate a couple things. Listen, domestic violence has a great big effect on our families and our communities. And so what I'm glad that they talked about in this podcast is how it affects the kids, how it affects the women, and even how it affects the men. And I think it affects the men in different ways, and I don't never want to promote or feel like I am encouraging or co-signing what men do. But there's a lot of things that men go through and we never taught how to deal with. And so we express it in unhealthy ways. So we must teach men to unlearn physical response to an emotional problem that we have. So let's do that. Let's encourage the men to do that. Get some inner healing training. I will be glad to help you. I feel like I'm called in that area. And learn how to express yourself in ways that's healthy instead of always, because when men feel disrespect, they love to react with physical. They have a physical response. I think it's natural, but I think also you have to learn how to express yourself. So ladies, I know we don't want our boys to be have feminine traits, but we must teach them to learn how to deal with their emotions, not live in it, because I think it's dangerous for men to live in their emotions, because we are leaders, and don't mean we don't have emotions, but it means we don't let the emotions have us. So let's teach our men how to deal with their emotions, talk about them, and so we can move past this. So listen, families are super important to communities. I believe healthy families make healthy communities, and healthy communities change the world. So we want to start at home. We want to make sure that you're not in unhealthy environments to cause you to be in danger. Ladies, step out, be encouraged. Know there are environment. There are organizations like S.W.A.V that help you get past this area, and there are probably a lot of domestic violence issues or organizations that help with the issues that you have. Please reach out to them. If you're not ready to leave, still reach out to them, because they will help coach you the way out before it's too late. And look, we love you. You are needed in this world. God put you here on purpose, for a purpose, and not for you to be mishandled by other men or even women by that standpoint. So with nothing else left to say, I'd like to thank you for tuning in again. And come back next week, Tuesday at 7, to join us for another episode of the Soul Rehab Podcast. Peace out and